Unmute. Mahoday, आप mute. Mute. You're on mute, sir. Mahoday.
Me, I'm on.
Sir, you are on mute.
Mute, sir. You're on mute.
Namaste.
Ah. Namaste.
Thank you. I just unmuted. I realized that. Thank you. Namaste sarvebhyah. Sarvebhyah suswagatam. Bhavaha janaha agatavantaha. Bhavaha bahu harshasya vicharaha. Dhanyavadaha. Astu. एकवारं प्रार्थनां कृत्वा प्रारम्भं करिष्यामः। अस्तु। ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठरा I'm having a little trouble with my internet, and this one, give me a minute, it will get rectified. Give me a minute. Thank you so much. Sorry about the starting trouble. So, yeah, we will do the Prarthana Shloka again and then start off in a minute. Okay. Om Gadanantva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravasthavam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanan Brahmanaspatan Notibisi Dasadaram Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Bervajini Vati Dhinama Vidyavato Ano divo brhatah parvatada saraswati yataganto yam avan devi jujushana gritachi shagman vacham shati shrunoto Shri Vagdevyai namaha Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtiveda Vibhagine Vyomavat Dehavyaptaya Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Astu. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, thank you everyone for joining in. What we were doing last class was we will take about 10 to 15 minutes from the last class and continue that. And close that out. Basically, I was talking about, we were discussing this Surarasa and Hanuman story. For those of you who have just joined in, I'm sure all of us are aware of the story in Sundarakandam of Srimad Valmiki Ramayanam, where Hanuman is, trying to cross, and Surasa, who is a Nagamata, she is asked to pose a test to him. So she has a vara that she can spread out her tongue as much as she can, and Hanuman has to sort of overcome that and move to the next one. So what we were doing in the regular class was that we were trying to do the Anvaya of the shlokas from the Valmiki Ramayana pertaining to this story. So to briefly come back to where we were in the last class, we had completed to the point where Hanuman, where the Deva Gandharvas and all the Siddhas actually meet and say, this Hanuman has to be tested. So given that he needs to be tested, they call Surasa and tell her, you become be a mountain-like structure, obstruct him, and let us see if he can actually cross you or not, pass over you, given that you have the vara. So of course, then Hanuman and she have a conversation. They say that, I'm going because of Rama, so please help me get there. Surasa says, of course not. And then they both, as much as Hanuman tries to jump over her, her tongue spreads and it goes on and on and on. So the point where we stopped was this one here. Susankshipyatmana kayam Jimu Daiva Marutihi Tasman Muhurte Hanuman Babuvam Krishtamatrakaha. So after some 20-25 attempts of she spreading her tongue and Hanuman trying to cross over, it did not work. Hanuman realized that that was not the way to handle her. He got irritated. After all, he was a Siddhi, he was an Ashta Siddhi. So what he did? He became Angushta Matraka, Angushta, of the size of a thumb. Right? So this is the shloka with which we stopped. Okay. So quickly what we will do, we will see what happens next in the next two slides. And then we will move to our topic for today. Okay. So I think, okay, anyone who wants to try doing the Anvaya for this? Who has been in the class so far? Who has done? Jyoti Mahodaya, Ashwini Mahodaya, Nilima Mahodaya, Vikram Mahodaya.
You want to read this? What is that?
Narayan Mahodaya Kalishati va?
No, you want to read this?
Huh?
You just want to read this? Read it first. You want to read this?
You can read it. Yeah. If you want, you can just read it. That's also okay.
Anvaya Saha Mahabalaha Tad Vaktram Abhivatya Nishpatya Cha Sriman Hanuman Idam Vadanam Abravit Te Vaktram Pravishta Asmi Te Vaktram Pravishta Asmi He Achayani Nama Astu Te Yasya Vaidehi Asti Tatra Aham Gamishe Tatra Vara Satyam Asidu.
Okay. So let me do a bit of this one. Sobi Patyashu Tadvaktram Nishpatya Cha Mahabalaha Antarikshe the Sriman Idam Vachanam Abravit. So if you look at this is the shloka, this is the original shloka. If you look at this part, this is the Anvaya. This is what has happened. This is this part of the story. What Narayan Mahodaya just read. Okay. So what is happening here? So Saha Abhipatyashu Tat Vaktram Nishpatya cha Mahabalaha Antarikshe Sthitaha Shriman Idam Vachanam Abravit. That is the Padacheda. That's how I would split this up. What I did after that Padacheda was sort of color coded and put this up. So what does it mean? If you look at this, all the green colors will be your Kriya Padani. Sarveshu, Sarve, Harita Varne, Harita Varneshu, stay Sarve, Kriya Padani Sati. Astuva, whatever is in this sort of golden brown are all the padas in the karta. They're all the karta. Okay. Everything in blue is karma. Whatever is in the other colors are something in something else, but they are easy to understand. We will talk about, because we have done only karta and karma, we will stick to karta and karma for now. So it is very easy to look at this shloka and make an anvaya out of this. Only thing is we need to sort of collect everything that is karta, everything that is karma, and associate the karta with the kriya. That's all we need to do in any Samskrita anvaya. Okay. So saha sobhi, so saha abhipatyashu, saha abhipatyashu will come later. Saha mahabalaha, because mahabala is again is the karta. Saha mahabalaha tat vaktram. This vaktram is in Vitya, is in the karma pada. Abhipatya nishpatya cha, he went in and came out as well. Having gone in, he came out. Why? Because he was the size of a thumb. So what did he do? He was smart. Being the size of the thumb, he went into the mouth and came out. What was her condition? I am going to swallow, I am going to get into my mouth. That was her condition. That was the vara. So he went into the mouth and came out. Having done this, Antarikshe Sthitaha, he went and stood in the Akasha, somewhere, in some space. Antarikshe Sthitaha Shriman. Shriman here refers to Hanuman. That's why in bracket there are no two Hanumans, so it's referred to as Shriman. Idam Vachanam Abravit. Said so. Abravit is Bhutakala. Abravit, Abravata, Abravitam, Abravan, Abruvan. Correct? So Abravit. So next shloka says, what did he say? He said something. Praveshtosmi hite vaktram dakshayini namostute kamishye tatra yatra vaidehi satyam chasid varastava. Hey Dakshayini. So this Hey Dakshayini applies to everything. Hey Dakshayini namostute te vaktram pravishtaha asmi. I went into your mouth and came out. Okay. Now, yasya vaidehi asti. Yasya yatra, sorry, this is a typo here. It should be yatra. Yatra vaidehi asti. Where there is vaidehi, this tatra is not there. But I have added, that's why whatever is in bracket is something that is my own addition. Tatra gamishya, given that is gamishya, it is the gam dhato atmane pade usage. Gamishya. Aham gamishya. Okay. Now there is one more. Asit. Cha asit. Varaha satyam asit. Tava varaha satyam asit. Your whatever your vara was there, I did not destroy that vara. What was your vara? Whoever comes there, I will take it to the mouth. Now, how did I not violate that? I became a small, this one went in and came out. So this one was Satyam. So he has passed the test now. That was posed by Nagas and Asuras. So this is what this shloka is saying. Okay. Quickly we'll go to the next one. Tam drishtva vadanan muktam chandram rahu mukhadiva. 1 minute. Okay. Jyoti Modaya has a question. Yes, Jyoti Modaya, tell me.
Sir, Vaktram.
Vaktram. Vaktram is mouth.
Okay.
I went into your mouth and came out, no? Te vaktram pravishtaha asmi. Or the tongue.
Okay, sir.
We said vaktram is vaktre saraswati drishtado. So the tongue. I went into the tongue and I came out of your tongue. So far he was avoiding the tongue. He was running away from the tongue. Now what did he do? Instead of doing that, he became the size of a thumb, sat on the tongue and jumped out of the tongue before she could swallow him.
Okay. And Abhipatya is going in, Nishpatya coming out.
Correct. Any other doubts?
No, sir.
Oh. Okay. We'll move ahead now. So the next two shlokas, what did she say? This is what this lady now replies to that Hanuman, what is just said. Surasa, tam drishtva vadanan muktam chandram rahu mukhadiva abravit surasa devi svena rupena vanaram artha siddhyai harishreshta gaccha saumya yatham sukham samana yasva vaidehim Raghavena Mahatmana. So let's do a simple padacheda of this. Tam drishtva vadanat. So this nakara is actually takara, actually, because sandhi it becomes a nakara. So we have not studied sandhi, but when we do a padacheda, it should be read as vadanat muktam. Muktam is getting freed of. As though Chandram Rahu Mukhativa. When there's a lunar eclipse, how the Chandra comes out of the, it appears as though somebody has eaten and it comes out of somebody's mouth. Hanuman came out that way. That is this one. That is the comparison. Abravit Surasa Devi Svena Rupena Vanaram. The Vanara who had now taken his own Rupa because he was currently with Angushta Matraka, now he had become Vanara himself, who he was. To that Vanara, this lady said, Artha Siddhyaiha Rishreshta Gaccha Saumya Yatha Sukham. Okay, there are too many typos, I don't know why. Okay. Samanayasva Vaidehi Raghavena Mahatmana. So we'll just see this. Yatha Rahu Mukhatah also. It's the same thing. We have read Kutaha, Katam, etc. No? So it's the same thing. From outside, coming something out. Rahu Mukhatah Chandram Muktam Bhavati. Chandra comes out of Rahu Tatha Iva, just like that. Tam Vadanat, that is Vadanatah Vaktratah Surasas Vaktratah Drishtva, having seen that he came out of that mouth, Just like Rahu, Chandra comes out of the Rahu Mukha, Surata Devi, now Svena Rupena, Dharaya is not there because that's why I put that in bracket. The Vanara who had now gained the same self, that Vanaram, this Vanaram should be in the same blue, that's the Karta here, Abravit. Surasa is now saying something. What is she saying? Hey Saumya Harishreshta, Tvam Artha Siddhyai. To achieve the Artha, Siddhyai to achieve. Yatha Sukham Gacha. Go there with all a sense of as you please. Go. Gacha is again is Lot Lakar. We'll study that Lot Lakar after Deepavali. We have planned for Lot Lakar in the next this one. Apitu Tvam Vaidehi is Sita Mata. Mahatmana Raghavena. Raghava who is Mahatma. Please Samana Yasva. Please bring them together. Bring Vaidehi with as in get Vaidehi and Rama together. That is what this lady said. Clear? Surasa. So after that he goes and then the story continues. So with this we end the story part of Surasa and Hanuman. Okay, any questions on this?
Svena Rupena.
Svena Rupena, Svena, his own self, assuming his own self.
Okay. Dhanyavad.
Astu.
What is Dharaya, Mahodaya?
Huh?
Dharaya.
Dharaya is something that I have put, that having assumed that self or this one, and Dharaya is not there here. That is not in
Yeah,
the
I know.
shloka,
I want to know the
make sense.
meaning.
That is just to complete that shloka, I have added that additional this one. Okay?
Dharaya is taking the form.
Yeah. Assuming that form.
Assuming the form, yeah.
In this context, Dharaya is taking, yes. Okay? Okay. With this, I think we can move on to our main topic for the day, for which a lot of people have joined in. Thank you so much for joining in. So what is this? What is this? Sanatana Dharma, a primer. That was the topic that I am going to talk about for the next, starting today, about 4 classes from today. Okay. So we have heard this whole thing called Sanatana Dharma. A lot of times I get a lot of questions, especially from elders, especially in my workplace as well. You know, we sort of get this intuitive feeling of Sanatana Dharma. We have some understanding, etc., etc., etc. If I were to answer somebody as a question, what is Sanatana Dharma? What are the things in Sanatana Dharma? What is Veda? What is Upanishad? What is this whole thing? How do I answer a question like this? They seem very simple, they seem something intuitive, they're all very important to us. But you know, if you have to give quite a convincing answer without getting too emotionally attached to it, or without becoming very, very, you know, protective or very justifyingly answer something, we need some level of understanding of the subject. These sessions are designed to make a sort of get that understanding. Okay. So let us see what happens. So the very question that comes to all of us, what is Sanatana Dharma? Okay, even before that, there are certain quintessence. What does Sanatana Dharma do? What is it that it does? Let's take there. Let's get there. It answers certain quintessential questions on everybody's mind as a philosophy. What are these questions on everybody's mind? Mostly on anybody, any thinking individual would have come across these questions at some point in time or the other. Who am I? Anybody who's not got this question, who am I? I say I am Karthik. Okay, I am Karthik. Who is this Karthik? What is that relationship with this Karthik? Is that me? Is that Karthik ever existing? Where did it come? Where did I come from? Yes, my parents brought me to this world. Fine, fair enough. One answer. Where did my parents come from? Their parents. Where did their parents come from? All these things are some sort of an infinite loop it goes with. But still, it does not answer my fundamental question, who am I? Okay, that is one part of it. Okay, first thing, where did I come from? Having come here, what am I doing here and what am I supposed to do? Of course, there's a society, there is some way, some parents push you, all those things, rat race, everything is good. But let us say we have nothing to do, nothing else to do, sit in some place. But these are all things, these are ways our mind will start thinking. Right? So let's take these things. Where should I be going? Where should I be heading? Right? Another question. Am I really heading there? Immediately logical question. If I am heading there, okay, I don't want to really head there. That is not where I want to go. Can I change my destination and define my own destination? So, then, okay. Now let us say I can or cannot have answered till here. How should I reach my destination? How do I get there? Is there a path? Is there an option? Is there only one path? Are there multiple paths? How should I get there? What should I be doing? I need some answers there. Finally, okay. I know two things for sure, having seen this world so much for so many years. There's a concept called birth, there's a concept called death. I am born now. I don't know anything about the past. Forget whatever happened before my birth and all. I may not care about it. But having born, I know that there are two things very, very certain in my life now. One, I am very sure I am going to die. Can anybody say I am not going to die? Nobody can say that. Second thing, I also know for a fact that I do not know when I am going to die. Correct? Nobody can decide, nobody can tell me a fixed date, yes, at this point in time, at this date, on this day, you are going to die, my dear friend. Correct? Or at least so many predictions, otherwise everyone would have been jumping to that person and getting that and getting us written. Okay, we would have then planned out, we would have done a few things. These are two very clear things that will not happen. Now, here it comes. I need to achieve some destination before that. What if I don't achieve the destination? What if I go somewhere else? What will happen to me? So these are some of the questions that linger in our mind every now and then. Or it comes sometime. At least when we don't have anything else to do, we are getting bored or somebody has scolded us. Everybody, what is this life? Where am I going? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? All these things come. Sanatana Dharma, in a lot of ways, answers these quintessential questions, providing a very good framework for it, and answers them pretty well. Okay, let us see how they answer. However, before we get into that understanding of Sanatana Dharma, there are some quintessential things that we need to do before we get there. There are something called, before I get there, there is something called a basic prerequisite to understand this. Let us see what these prerequisites are. One is this concept of Shraddha. All of us have heard of this term, Shraddha, and also have an intuitive understanding of that Shraddha. Now, a couple of things I want to clarify to everyone. Shraddha is definitely not faith. Faith can be blind. Very simple example. I'll tell you why Shraddha is not blind. I'll show you why faith is to be blind. I'll just show you that example. That's why I skipped those a few slides before. Okay. Okay. Swami Ranganathananda, in his beautiful lectures, okay, I've not credited it here. Okay. He has somewhere quoted Shraddha is a willful suspension of disbelief. Okay. What am I doing? I have a lot of beliefs, I have a lot of things. Basically, what I say, have an open mind. Having an open mind, willfully say that yes, what is happening, what you are told, may be there, may not be there, fair enough. But till the point you can absolutely prove that it is there or it is not there, don't either believe it nor disbelieve it. Now suspend that disbelief part. A lot of times what happens is we take positions on things. Yes, this cannot be there, this is not there, without knowing the full information. Okay. Shraddha, you question. A good example for Shraddha is something like a child playing. You know, let us say there is a child is playing on the field. Until the point it can see its mother or parents, there will be no problem. It will be doing all sorts of nonsense. It will be totally carefree and it will be running around, probably even jumping from a tree without even realizing it will fall and hurt itself. And mind you, there are 50 other people, but it is constantly aware of its mother. The moment that awareness goes away, or the mother just steps out into a shadow, you wouldn't even realize it how loudly the child will start crying. Correct? Now that is Shraddha. And why is it jumping from the tree and even allowing himself to be hurt? It knows for sure the mother will come and save me, no matter what. If I'm doing something wrong, even if I get hit, even if I do something, there is that sort of strong system which says, you know, yes, there is something around there who is taking care of me. Correct? So we need that sort of a Shraddha in something. What is that something? Now I know that I am here. So now the question is not that, is there somebody who created me? That cannot be the question. If there is a painting, I cannot ask the question, is there a painter? The question necessarily has to be, who is the painter? Similarly, now I have to say, there is something that created me, created this world, created whatever I am seeing, whatever I can. Who is that? And who am I? These are the key quintessential questions. To answer that, you need to have a Shraddha that there is something that exists beyond me. Because I did not create myself. My parents brought me to this world. That's what I remember at least. Correct? At this point in time, that's what I remember. I don't remember anything else. Who brought my parents? Their parents, their parents, their parents. It goes on and on and on. Who brought the first person? How did this world come into existence? That also has some long history. How can be answered? Who is a very difficult question to answer. So first thing we read is some Shraddha that there exists something that is beyond. They call it a force, a Shakti, whatever we want to name it. So we read that Shraddha that there exists something. Okay. Second thing, another reason I am quoting this from the Bhagavad Gita itself. Shraddhavat labate gnanam. This is what Krishna has said. Ashraddadhanascha samshayatma vinashyati. These are the two slokas. I mean, these are two. If you have Shraddha, you will gain whatever you are seeking. If you are not having, if you are a samshaya, if you are a doubting Thomas on every single thing and keep on going ad infinitum, then better prepare yourself for a different route of getting destroyed in some ways. Now, what the destruction is itself is a very different story. We'll get to that. This is one first thing that we need to do, that we need to have. The second thing is Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. That's why I said, that's why I went back and said, Shraddha is not blind. Please mind you, Shraddha is never blind. Shravana, listen. Shravana, listening. Having listened, contemplate. The comparison given in our Shastras is basically contemplate is like, this ruminating cow. The cow eats up the grass wherever it finds. But when it sits down, it will bring it back. It has 4 udders. It has 4 stomachs. So it brings it back and starts ruminating. Once it's fully ruminated and passes through its body, it becomes milk. So contemplate like that. When you're listening, grasp everything, just put it into your mind. That's okay. But contemplate. Manana. And this contemplation can be with a lot of questions and with a lot of thoughts coming in and seeking those answers. That's why I said it is not blind. It cannot be blind. You are not, it's not saying don't think or don't do anything. Seek answers. Seek that right answer. But seek it with a form of Shraddha. And only then finally do a Nididhyasana, which is sort of imbibe those things. Until that time, don't blindly go and say, I will take it up also. Okay? Now, okay, where are we now? This is my next slide. Now, in this process, let me just demonstrate one thing to you, what happens. Okay. Okay. Everybody can see this map. Is visible? Right?
Yes.
So this is the map where I have, this is Africa, this is Russia. Visible, no? So what I want you to think about is this is one end of Russia, this is the other end of Russia. All right. If I go in this direction and this, if I take this path, that is marked out in black. I'll call this a distance of x. Okay. Then similarly in Africa, this is one end of Africa, this is the other end of Africa. I'm sure all of us, whenever we were doing geography at some point in time, some school, as children, 5th standard, 6th standard, 7th standard, whatever we were doing, we have seen this map, and this map is sort of imbibed in our brains. Correct? Now, just by looking at this, what I want you to tell me is, one of the three things can happen. Either this x can be greater than y, x can be equal to y, or x can be less than y. Okay? So, quick raise of hands. How many think x is greater than y? Raise your hands as to, you can raise your hands in, you can raise your hands through the, please raise through your, this one, through the, through this participant screen. I can't otherwise see your, this one. Okay, x is greater than y. I have some hands, at least 4 I can see now. Okay, how many more? X equal to y. Okay. Okay. Anybody else who wants to say x equal to y? We saw that, no, x greater than y, x equal to y. All right. How many think x is less than y? Okay, now whoever is telling me this x is less than y has to give me a reason. Who is that?
The distance x is less because it is in the Arctic region, where in the globe that distance will be smaller than the equatorial region.
Correct. Now you are the only one who studied geography, perhaps. Right. Okay. No, I'll tell you why. But then please make a note of this. Nobody taught us this in the right way. No education system in the world, in at least in the Indian context that I know, is teaching this framework. If you look at this, the distance of x is 5,470 kilometers. The distance of y is 7,224 kilometers. Okay. Now the reason is, this is the Arctic Circle. So I'm not talking of this distance, going from here till here on the road. I'm talking of this distance. Now this is a perception problem. Correct? Looking just by the map, there is no way that we can make out which distance is larger. Because the earth is round. We know that the earth is round at one end. We know that this is a plain paper and this has been laid out. But given our perceptions, given our mind limitations, we are not able to make sense of just such a common thing, simple thing. Okay. So of course, what I have done here is, this goes from what the real size of Africa is to the real size of Russia. This is how it is. This is what is called the Mercator projection. This is what should have been taught to us in 5th standard. Unfortunately, what they taught us was this, which left us an impression that, you know, this distance is going to be something like at least 4 times this distance. Correct? If I were to look at this for the first time, I would have said it is 4 times this at least. If not 4, okay. Yeah, at least 4 times this. This is a longer this one. It's about 3 times, if not 4. Correct? I will definitely say that. but the reality is quite different. So similarly, when we are, this is the real world, by the way. This is the real size of the world. If you look at Africa, this is how big it is, and this is how big Russia actually is. Okay. The reason I brought this out is a lot of times we take positions on things based on perceptions without knowing certain things for a fact. Okay. And when we are called to prove it, we get into trouble. Sanatana Dharma has faced this n number of times. Okay. Key challenges that we have. Domain knowledge. A lot of people have lost out on the domain knowledge in over the past 1,000 years or so. Ancient texts, they're all in this one leaves, palm leaves. Lot of it is lost. Sanskrit language, Sanskritam, to some extent we are bridging that, but then it is not like the best of things that we have so far done. And a lot of it was also due to was because there were a lot of management principles forced upon, which made people to give up their original oral traditions, even written traditions to a large extent that were there. And then there is this multi-dimensional nature of ancient literature. That is basically, as I had given an example some long time ago, that, there is a sukta where you have to give go. And go can mean, a lot of things. That is, it can range from a cow to a Veda to Upanishad to Prithvi. So, there are a lot of meanings that are defined just at the stool and at the base level. And you substitute it with one cow versus earth, the whole meaning will change automatically. So there is a multi-dimensional nature. So this multi-dimensional nature comes with one more thing. We do not, I think we discussed this in one of my earlier sessions as well. I showed the value of pi the way it was remembered. Okay. I can plug in that slide here, but we will see that. The Katavayadi Sutra. So if I were to read that sukta, or rather the shloka, it was not even a sukta or a sutra, it was only a shloka. The shloka, it was just praising Krishna at the gross level. It was referring to Krishna and praying to Krishna. However, if I were to use the Katapayadi and assign numbers to it, it resolved to the value of pi to the 31st decimal place. This was in Anushtup Chandas, so which means 32 syllables. 32 syllables means 31. This one, and it was doing it. So our nature of ancient literature is not like, okay, mathematics, I am focusing only on mathematics, this is done. No, it does not work that way. Similarly, the concept of time, it does not work with, okay, I am focused on time. No. Bhagavata has a whole, this one of time and space. So there's a multi-dimensional way, there is a way of understanding this whole thing. That's the problem. Then there is a difference between Stula and Sukshma. That makes it a very difficult task to understand. The Sukshma can be very, very different. So then if I ask a question, how can animals talk in Panchatantra, then I have missed out the whole point. The idea is to convey some different ideas, is to convey a different meaning there.
The meaning of Stula and Sukshma, please.
Okay, Stula is basically the gross meaning. That is what you make out of it at the surface.
Yeah.
Sukshma is something that is hidden in it and that you need to extract out.
Excellent. Okay, Dhanyavada.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's a limitation of using translated work. This is a huge limitation. You cannot blindly translate something and go there. Just as I was giving an example some other day, Jataragni. The moment I say Jataragni, people who have translated it as fire in the belly. That fire in the belly in English translates to some sort of an ambition or some sort of this one to achieve some great this one. Jataragni, on the other hand, should be the Vaishwanara who is there, and it is more of a thermodynamic process which is leading to your digestion process. Right? Jatara is the stomach. So if you translate things like this, we'll end up with heartache and things like that. So there are challenges of reading this translated work. And then for all sorts of agenda-driven things, there are things like emancipation of women, emancipation of something, upliftment. Translated work can be very differently understood. So this is a very strong problem. Lost in translation. So Sanskritam has certain ways of doing things versus English. A lot of things are lost out there because the bhava is always related to the ground reality. Why so much? Even if you take Ramayana, for instance, what you see in Valmiki Ramayana is adapted for the local practices of many tribals and have tribal Ramayanas that are there. There are 1,400 versions of Ramayana itself. Right? And it comes up. And there are a lot of versions like that. And that's how our tradition survive, in fact. So, without knowing the place and without knowing things, if I become an expert and want to comment on it, then it's a little difficult to talk. The other thing is the other extreme. This is so far okay, at least you can handle it. You know that you can at least challenge and say, no, this is not right, etc. Using the limited knowledge that is available or old knowledge to explain what is practiced today. I'll give a very simple example. Mobile phone existed in our old times. They were doing telepathy. They used to do it through telepathy. Okay. Now, what is it doing? What is this statement doing here? One, I have no proof that there existed something. Whether it existed or not is a secondary thing. We'll discover that later. If you have some proof, then show it. That's a different story. But then I'm taking a strong position here without a proof. Rather than that, saying that I do not know how this would happen. Let us say, for instance, there was a communication that was happening and some rishis were communicating through some channels which was available, which they knew how to communicate. I would rather say, I do not know how they were doing it or how this text explains it. This text is limited to the extent that, I do not understand it, and leave it there and maybe say I will do further research, rather than taking a position that, they had mobile phones and they were connecting into mobile phones. I mean, that is today's way of doing it. Why are you forcing that upon somebody who may or may not have done it? I do not know. Is a straightforward answer, is an honest answer, frankly. But given that it is there, I will not, as I said, there should be a Shraddha. Yes, they might have done it. How they did it, I do not know. That is a better position to take than saying there was something there. For instance, I'll give you another example. We do this, what is called two-factor authentication today. everybody will be aware of two-factor authentication. If somebody is not, simple thing, you have a password. Once you type in the password, an OTP comes to you, and only then you can transact. So that is an example of a two-factor authentication. Now I can very well map this two-factor authentication to something. I can say that yes, there existed a similar mechanism to do this in Ramayana time. I'll give a very simple example how this works. Sundarakanda, you were just discussing Sundarakanda, right? So Hanuman went to meet Sita, and so now first thing that happens is Hanuman says, I am a Ramaduta. You have to believe. And he starts singing about Rama and everything. First step. That is first level of step. Sita immediately pounces on him and says, no, it is not. This is not sufficient for me. You can be Ravana for all I know. He might have come as a Maya and whatever. You tell me something that is very specific to Rama, which only I can know. That's when he gives that example. That's when he says, Rama has that birthmark on his right thigh or some such thing. And then she, says, perhaps this is not something that nobody knows. Similarly, when he is leaving, there is one Chudamani, or that this one which he gives. And similarly, there was this exchange of Angulika also. That's also there. That is one stula which she has given as this one. But he can pick it up on the way somewhere and go. So she tells him a story which was privy between only Rama and Sita. That is that Vayasa, that is that Kaka, this one. Okay. So I can map that, this concept of two-factor authentication is not new to us. However, I cannot say that they were using mobile phones to do a two-factor authentication in those days. Right? So that's where the problem starts. When we start taking wrong positions, and that does a lot of negative things. Similarly, Pushpaka Vimana, yes, we agree there was probably some sort of a Pushpaka Vimana in those days. How they built it, what they did, how did Vishwakarma build it, what he did, I do not know the technology. Sorry, I even being an engineer, I cannot decipher things. Taking that position is simpler and honest compared to saying, there were aeroplanes and flying just like what you are doing now. I do not know how they did that, honestly, but I do believe. I do think that since it is mentioned in the Ramayana, I do think that yes, it existed. It was there. I lost it somewhere in between. Maybe I do some research and try to get it to that point. Do it. That is a better position to take. Just glorifying things for the heck of glorifying is sort of probably not a good this one. And then comes another level of, this especially applies to a lot of people with, at least this part, this using old knowledge to explain new ones is at least limited to those who are not well versed with some sides or well versed with in their own field or something like that, which is common talk which can at least be discounted. More harm is done when very educated, quote unquote educated, because I just showed you what education has done to us in terms of perception. So educated people who we call ourselves as educated make generic sweeping statements. Simple example, there is this whole thing called in the Jnana Vijnana Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, there is this Sutre what is that? I forget. Sutre Gada Maniva or some such thing, which I don't even have. Sorry.
Sutre Manigana Iva.
Sutre Manigana Iva, correct. Sutre Manigana Iva. So it's making a comparison of the Gnana, which is different chakas. Like these are all different people around. The Gnana is this one, and this is like the money is in that bandha. Now, comparing this to Stephen Hawking's string theory and saying, just because this is mentioned there, we knew string theory in those days, is, I think, way far-fetched state or string of imagination. At least unless you understand string theory fully and prove how Sutreva Manigana Iva is actually mapping to this one. So that mapping, if you cannot do, so please don't take a position like that. That is another challenge that we have. These are key challenges that we have in this whole context of Sanatana Dharma. Then the worst of things. Every person, whether they know anything, whether they are trained, whether they have gone through a traditional training or not gone through, whatever it is, anybody and everybody is free to take a position on Sanatana Dharma and go public and say, this is what it is all about. And authoritatively stamp themselves. That is something fearlessly, freely. Yes, I know this is exactly what it is. Take that position. Okay. So these are certain challenges that we face. So we need to be, the reason I have put this out is, when we are, whether we need it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we are, I consider myself very blessed, but a lot of people don't, but so I don't want to take that position for them. So we are blessed to have a long and strong and great civilization. And it's our duty to pass it on to the next generation. It's our duty to have it around and take it. However, it needs to be done in a right and if not the perfect way, in some way that is, it is actually what Sanatana Dharma represents. And these are certain challenges that I would really not want to transfer, at least from my end, to the next generation. And that's why it is just my thoughts that I have put down. And this is something that, this is frankly not my slide, but I have got from my gurus and understood how this comes. This is actually Professor Mahadevan's slide, okay, who has taught me this one. So I should credit him on this. Okay. So having done this, one more thing, what we shall not indulge in. Now, I just showed you what space can do to us. How space is a sort of a perception that we are getting stuck if we look at a map. So we will not get into the space-time boundaries and constraints. When, where, what, when were Vedas created? Was it before this? Was it after that? Was there something going on here? What was this? Frankly, I'm not an expert. I do not know it. That's the position I'm taking here. Okay. Next. Questions that are due to our own limitations, perceptions, and worldviews. Just like what I just said. Ravana had 10 heads. What do those 10 heads mean? I do not know. Don't ask me, please. Okay. Is it practical? My guess is as good as yours. Ravana lived for 20,000 years. Rama ruled for 11,000 years. Can anybody ever live that long? How dare you say this? Sorry, I do not know. I am not an expert. Simple. Can animals talk? Well, I don't know. That's it. I'll leave it at that. We will not indulge in. Okay. And I don't want to be, I'm okay not being an intelligent creature also. If somebody thinks I'm not intelligent, or if intellectualism is equal to intelligence, then I'm not an intellect. Let me leave it at that. All right. So with this, what we will do is we will get into some basics of what is this thing. We'll start with that first question that we said. Who am I? let us see what some things that in our Ved our Upanishads are saying about who am I? Who is this I? Okay. I am Atma Brahma. First thing. It comes in the Mandukya Upanishad. In the Atharvana Shaka, his Atman is Brahman. Now, who is this? We discussed this I am. There are 4 ways to address somebody in Sanskritam, as we discussed in one of the classes. One is, Saha. We have seen Saha, Yeshaha. Something that is far, I am seeing, I am there. Saha. Something that is near. Yesha Duravani. We have seen that. Saha, Sa Utpitika. We have seen that. These 2 things we have done too many times. We have done it, and now we have written enough things also. I think we have given you enough homeworks that we have done so much that we know this much. There are 2 more. One is Asav. Asavadityo Brahma. This comes in the when we are giving Gargya, when we are giving Gargya to Surya every morning in the Sandhya Kala, Sandhya Vandanam, we say this Asavadityo Brahma. Now that is not Asavadityo Brahma, that is Asau Adityaha Brahma. Asau Adityaha Brahma. Asau refers to he. Now he is again, Asau is something that is in the line of sight, which can be seen. So Sanskritam has very clear rules on these things. Then there is Ayam. Ayam, we saw for those who attended a couple of classes before, Ayam Vatatmajaha Shriman Sagaro Pariplavate. Right? So they're referring to someone who is not present there or who is not invisible or anything, and he is there somewhere. He is somewhere there. So somewhere who is present, his Atma is Brahma. That's what it is referring to here. Okay, let's come to the next one. Prajnanam Brahma. The intelligence causes the Brahman. Some intelligence, some form of intelligence. What is that? Brahma. Okay. Tattvam Asi. Now we are coming a little closer. That he is you. That you is applied to that Brahman again. Aparna Modaya Vadatu. You have raised your hand. Please unmute.
Is prajna not awareness of the self? Is prajna not awareness of the self?
It is about awareness only. Absolutely, you are absolutely right. So I have just that awareness, I have put it as the intelligence because prajnanam is that intelligence which is also the cosmic intelligence. So that awareness is what I have mapped it to that cosmic intelligence. Yes, please tell me.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's about awareness. Prajna is being aware. Prajnanam is that cosmic intelligence. Prajnana. Vijnana is in Vishesha Jnana. Okay. Parvati Mahadeva.
So in the first one, I am Atma Brahma. Is it his or his Atman is the Brahman?
Yes.
I am his.
Yes.
Okay, then I don't understand that.
You don't understand this.
Yeah.
I'll help you understand this.
Okay.
Okay, let me put this fully out. Finally.
Okay.
Aham Brahmasmi. Okay. Now your question is very valid. Aham means me. Finally it says Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Brahman. Okay. Now, how do you resolve this his and aham? What is the missing word here? Between the two, there is one thing.
Atma.
Atma.
Yeah.
It does not say Mama Atma Brahma. It says Aham Brahmasmi, so that Aham should go back and say that and link back to that Atma. So his Atman is Brahma, which is also my Atman. Is that clear?
Yeah. My question was, who is this he? His Atman.
That he can be anybody. It can be you, me, any, this one. For now, we will take it as a cosmic
Power. Okay.
bound.
Whatever. Okay. Dhanyavad. Okay.
That which I do not know.
No.
I will just come to it in Taittiriya Upanishad and clarify this he.
Okay.
Hold on for a minute. So this much I have now said that Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma. I said I am Brahma. I am not talking of this. I am now. I am Brahma. The English I am Brahma. Okay. So that is what is this saying. Then the question is, if I am the Brahma, then why am I not experiencing the Brahma? Correct? Question, no? I started with his Atma is Brahma, then I said Aham Brahmasmi. That means both of them are exactly the same. Then I and he should be the same. Why is that I and he are not the same? Okay. Now this gets explained when I answer the question, where did I come from? Okay. Let's go to that. Where did I come from now? I will take this one. I'll take a minute to recite this. I'll have to recite this. This is from the Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahmananda Valli, 6th Anuvaka. Okay. So kamayata bahusyam prajaye yete satapo tapyata satapas tapva idagum sarvam asrijata yadidam kincha tat srishtva tadevanupravishat tadanupravishya satyatyacha bhavat niruktancha nilayanancha vijnanancha satyancha nritancha satyam abhavat yaditam kincha tat satya mitya chakshate tadapyesha shloko bhavati. This is from the Taittiriya Shakha of Anandavalli of Taittiriya Shakha. What is it saying? Saha akamayata. Now this is Saha. Please don't. This is not I am. Saha. That means I know who this Saha is. Okay? Saha akamayata. He wanted something. What did he want? Bahusyam prajaya yeti. He wanted many. Saha tapaha tapyata. He did some tapas. Sa tapas tapva. Having done that, he having done the tapas, idagum sarvam asrijata. Whatever is around, he created. Correct? Yadidam kincha tat srishtva, having created devatat devan anupravishat. he went into each of these things that he created himself. Tadanupravishya. This whole thing, satyach abhavat, it became a false. Niruktancha, aniruktancha, nirukta, niruktancha, niruktancha. Nirukta is one, anirukta is the opposite of nirukta. Okay. What was meaningful became non-meaningful. That's what it will mean. Nilayanancha, anilayanancha. What was Vishesha, what was experientially known became avijnana, vijnanancha, avijnanancha, Vishesha jnana. Vishesha jnana is what is sort of experienced and known. It became the experience went away. That's what it means here. And this whole thing, Satyam, Anrutam, Satyam cha Anrutam, Satyam abhavat. What was not truth started appearing as truth. Yadidam kincha tat satyam mitya satya mitya chakshate. Sat mitya chakshate. That is, what was truth started appearing as a lie, and what was lie started appearing as a truth. That is what this shloka says. So first step, yeah, okay. Let's go to this. I'm sure a lot of us have heard of this Lalita Sahasranama, no? There is one thing called Ichha Shakti, Gnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Swarupini. Correct? The order is very important there. Anything that we need to create, anything that we want, we need to have a willingness to create that, make it. That is the Ichha Shakti. Without that, there is no way you will be able to create. Okay? Having that Ichha, we need to know how to create that. That is the Gnana Shakti. Only finally can we create it, which is the Kriya Shakti. So here the Ichha Shakti comes from this. Saha Akamayata. Now, who is that Saha? Let me go back here. Whoever is this, I am. That we do not know. How do I know this now? Because he is Saha. This Anvaka actually is preceded by Ananda Valli, where Ananda Mimamsa, which goes Priyame Vashiraha, Odo Dakshinah Paksha, Ananda Atma. So basically, that person knows Ananda. So that's why he can refer to this I am as Saha. No. Okay. That is the chronology. I have not brought that here, but that is there. So this I am has turned into Saha. Okay, in this case. Saha, one who knows that Akamayata, wanted something, he willed that he read something. What did he will? Pausya Prajayaya Utpadyate. This is what I am taking this straight from the Shankara Bhashya. So Utpadyate is what Shankaracharya has put. So I have taken that word from there. So let's make Utpadyeya, let's make a lot of let me become a lot, Praja, Lord of myself, Lord, let me make a lot of Praja. Okay, how do I do this? That's the question. He was also not in the know, he was just somewhere, right? So he did a tapas to get this Gnana Shakti. And how do you do tapas? Tapas can be done only through the manas. Correct? We'll study what are the 24 components in one of these sessions. There the manas will come. I'll explain what the manas is and what the fickleness of the mind is and all those things. Idam sarvam asrijata. That is the kriya part. He did the kriya part. Okay. Tat, having tat srishtva, he went into it as well. Into each of those things. Now this is where the little confusion can happen. How can someone multiply get into multiple things? Correct? How can one person get into multiple things? Right? So the way it is explained is, let us say, let's take, Vedanta cannot progress without Ghata, Pata, Mata. That's what they say. Let's take Akasha. Let's take this construct of a room. All of us are sitting in some form of a room. Correct? This is space. Correct? There's space in this room. Correct? Now, is this space inside this room any different from the space outside this room? This is space, that is also space, no? So, the question is, I put the 4 walls. Now, there was space. Now, I constructed this 4 walls and it created one different space. Technically, can I say that a space outside entered this space and created a different space? The space is the same. Correct? Chitra Mahodaya, yes, please ask me a question.
Space is the same, Mahodaya, but boundaries, inside means boundaries are there, outside there is no boundaries.
Absolutely. But I am talking of the space. I am only talking of the space. Assume there is vacuum at both ends, both sides. Let us say you are in a spaceship. Okay? Or a space capsule which is full with an oxygen mask. Outside of your oxygen mask there is space, but there is a boundary which is covering that, and outside of that there is a space also. Is that space any different from the space that is there? Correct?
No.
So did this space inside enter outside, or did the space outside enter inside? What happened? Another example. You have many gold ornaments. What is the key thing there?
Gold.
Gold. Correct. I can call it a stud, I can call it an earring, I can call it a necklace, whatever, multiple things I can call. Does the meaning of gold go away just because I call it an earring, this one or anything? Can I say gold entered into this earring, gold entered into necklace, gold entered into this, so on and so forth?
No.
Right? That's what this means. This shloka applies that. Okay, that's how we all, including this Vishwa or this, whatever we can perceive as this universe, came into being as per our Shastras. Okay? Okay. This is all that happened because of that. Because this happened, what it also did was, it created a sense of I-ness and a sense of mithya, that was unreality. Correct? Because now I see this gold ring and gold earring differently, it is quite possible I will not be able to say both are gold. One will be a longer gold, one will be a shorter this one, etc., etc., etc. So I am obviously going to say, no, that is different from this. I am not going to say this is the same. Correct? I'll attach values based on their weights. I'll attach value based on their various other parameters. I can create parameters now. Correct? Enough things I can create. So what this does is it gives me a false sense of complacency that, you know, even though both are gold, I know very well, I'm aware that both are gold. The value of that ear stud is lower than the value of a necklace. Yes, Parvati Modaya is just imagining the ear stud versus the necklace. Correct. Very good. Thank you.
I'm
I
just
like
smiling at our thinking process. What you're saying is very true. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
No, but that's exactly how our minds work, right? That's
Yeah.
exactly
Human beings. Yeah.
we are like that. And that's the reason we are created that way. Whoever did a fantastic job and is absolutely having fun with it. Right? So, okay, we have, I think, point in time now. I need to be conscious of the time as well. Exactly 8:30. Okay. Okay, maybe a minute more I'll just take, and I will just stop with this one thing. Right? We became that. We are all gold. We know that we are all gold. We are aware that we are all gold. But then, you know, that person is taller than me. This person scored 50 more, this child scored 50 more marks than my child. That person is getting 10,000 rupees more than me. I am happier than that fellow. He is not at all happy. We are there now in that state. Right. So that's exactly how the Srishti wanted us to be. All right. So, okay. This is what, and this is a very interesting story. We'll continue with this story. Okay. Now that we have, will wind up. Now there was a byproduct of this. Not the byproduct. I wouldn't say it's a byproduct. This is exactly how it came about. So this Gnana Shakti. What is this Gnana Shakti? That is explained. It was right. It happened in the month. My video is saying it is 8:30. You better stop. Okay. So it said it's in the Manas. It created this 4 things called Rug Yajus Sama Atharvangirasa. This is our Vedic corpus. Okay. We'll continue this story in the next class of the Vedas. We'll start with the Vedas. Okay, what do these Vedas are? How they came about, what they did. We just saw how they came about. Of course, as part of the Gnana Shakti, in order to create all of us, Vedas came in the process. All right. So with this, we will stop for today. Any questions, anything? Please feel free to ask. What I will do is I will stop the video recording after the, because it's 8:30, maybe people will want to go. So what I'll do the Mangalam and then we'll stop the YouTube. Then we can continue for another 5-10 minutes. I have time. No worries. Whoever wants can ask the questions. All right. Om Sahana Bhavato Sahano Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Yaena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Ko Brahmanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavanto Kale Varshita Parjanyah Divi Sasishalini Deshoyam Shobharahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Aputra Putrinas Santu Pautrinaha Adhanat Sadhanat Santu Jivantu Sharadam Shatam Shunvans Ramayanam Bhaktya Sayati Padamevava Sayati Brahmanastanam Brahmana Pujyate Sada Harihi Om. Since we did Ramayana, I thought I'll do the Mangala Shloka of Ramayana also. Thank you so much.